clock on the wall is a thief in the night, stealing the seconds and fading the light. We think we have years, that the road never ends, that there's always more time to make up with friends. But the silence gets heavy, the room feels so cold, when the stories you kept are stories untold. Oh, life is too short, it goes by so fast. You never know which hug is your last. The goodnight kiss might just last. So love the person you're with like no tomorrow. Save yourself from the weight of the sorrow, because it's too late to say goodbye. It's too late to pray for the chance to say the things that you wanted to say when they're gone. When they're gone. Looking at the chair where he used to sit, and I realize now that I took it for granted. But the calendar turned and the page, and so much time just fell away. And now I am pleading for just one more day. Days to turn to years, and now you're so far under. Oh, life is too short, it goes by so fast. You never know which hug is your last. The goodnight kiss might just last. So love the person you're with like no tomorrow. Save yourself from the weight of the sorrow, because it's too late to say goodbye. It's too late to pray for the chance to say the things that you wanted to say when they're gone. When they're gone.
Audio check. Hey guys, good morning. Gotcha. Thank you. No, I had it muted. It mutes it when it plays the video, so sorry about that. At least I caught it right away. Good morning, good morning. I was just saying I'm letting the room build in. How is the audio? Any echoes? Yes, Mary's the co-host. Oh, and my other little co-host. Let's see. The microphone. Look what the new kittens did to the tree. It's trashed. If I'd have got the big one, they'd all have been hanging out in there. Okay, so no echo. Okay. You guys should have audio now. All right, guys. This is a video I didn't want to do. Probably going to get a little feedback on some situation. Exactly a year ago, we lost another expat just about a year ago. And he was a vlogger, and that would be Mark Thornton. Every man has a story. And here is another expat that had medical conditions, but this one came on suddenly. So for those that didn't see the video or where I've been talking about Kelly, and he had a slip and fall, and I'm going to round it up to about 2 weeks ago. And he was in the hospital waiting for hip surgery. While he was in there, he caught pneumonia. So today I'm going to cover whatever can happen in the Philippines, or what could happen, might happen, or probably will happen. This guy just didn't have any luck, and financially it had him ending up in a provincial hospital, which I have some footage of that, which is going to be a little shocking for some. For those that have been to the Philippines, they know there's some really great hospitals, and then if you end up in a government provincial hospital, it could be really, really an eye-opener. And the staff there, I must say, tries their best. They got medical students in there, and this was just bad luck on the expat, not reflecting on the Philippines. I think the hospitals could use some improvement, but so can a lot of stuff in the U.S. So I can't actually, who's to say on that situation. But I'm going to cover a few things today. I don't believe George is going to make it in. He did an overnight at the family's house with his uncle, and they were doing some things. And so I thought he was going to make it in this morning, and he did not. So actually, I kicked him out of the house. That's what that song's for. No, the song was really dedicated for Kelly. It's When You're Gone. It's When You're Gone. So I wrote that song myself, the lyrics, put the type of music. Yes, it's AI, and I didn't sing it, and nor did I play the instruments, but it was my thoughts, ideals, and the type of music. The whole concept was mine last night and dedicated to Kelly. I don't know how far I'm going to get into this today. I'm going to discuss some funeral costs. I'm going to discuss what happens when you pass away here. I'm going to talk about health insurance. We might have Michael Onstad come in. He usually does when it comes to medical, and he's subscribed to our channel. I talked to him over time. We're going to discuss cost. We're going to discuss everything. And then you have that Kelly left behind a very young wife, and she did her best to take care of them. And I tell you what, that must have been some stress all the way around. And I may say some things that may offend some people. And so, hey, that's what I do. So I know there's some things going on. I know that he was dealing with his extreme pain, and at the same time dealing with her being jealous on a lot of things. So like every time I would talk to him, she would get jealous, other girls on the internet jealous. So he's sitting there sick. And then I found a bunch of her Facebook videos on her Facebook and her TikToks where she's laid up on his stomach doing TikToks during him, being super sick. So I thought it was odd, but that's what I'm here to discuss, is just the whole odd thing of what was actually going on. So once again, people are just coming in. Kelly, the expat, the Australian expat, passed away. He passed away yesterday. Now, as I'm to understand, and I could be wrong, because I'm sure people down the road will cover this now that, we're putting this out. As I'm to understand, and I'll put some of the footage up, is that he passed away after the surgery. So his videos, we were in contact probably 12 hours before he had passed away. He was always sending us messages. And well, let me get some of the scenery. Let's start out by just putting some of the footage here. Let's see. All right, the first one I'm going to put up, okay, is there was a fire less than 48 hours ago in the hospital. This is the hospital, guys. Let me set the scene. This is a provincial hospital, and yes, that's an open window. There's no AC running in this hospital, guys. And that's people jumping out of a window. Appears to be, I would say that's not first level, but they're jumping out of the hospital. So first he was dealing with, there was a fire. And then I'll get into the situation of needing a runner to get your food, to get your blood, and his issue with the blood work, guys. So let's see some of this video. And also in this video, I'm going to replay some clips where he'll talk about his blood.
Dali, Bonnie.
Jumping. Well, they're basically. But look at them hustling. Scary, but the bravery is real. Bravery. One second, guys. You know, I think this comes second nature to Filipinos. That's why they make such good nurses. That's why they're good in action. And I think it's just like in their blood or something. It's kind of not a, I don't want to use the word passive about everything. They're so ready. It's just like secondhand for the Filipinos. Absolutely heartbreaking. And this happens a lot in fires. I think this year alone, I've seen
got some good
4 different times. Let me stop this. I've probably seen at least 4 hospitals like this where they've had to empty out for one reason or another. Not necessarily fire. I've seen the fires this year, but it was either earthquakes have come along and they just empty out these hospitals. How often does that happen in the U.S. where they just take everybody out of the hospital for whatever reason? So, okay, so this next clip would be Kelly, God rest his soul on this, is that he, I believe, is getting ready to discuss the blood situation. So on our last live stream, we discussed that they didn't have the blood. So he had to also provide his own blood for the surgery, and they could not get it. And as I'm to understand, O positive in the end is not an unknown type. So he still had to come up with his blood. But I believe he's getting ready to discuss in this clip, because I put it together yesterday, is that he even had to figure how to store it, and he had to figure what to do with it, which is crazy. Think about that, guys. You get blood, you have to provide your own blood and bring it in, and his wife had to go sit for hours, and then boom, he's got to figure out how to store it on top of that. He's also going to discuss about they reuse needles. So like if they pulled it out and it was dry and crusty, they use the same one. They didn't clean it, they put it right back in. So he's not happy at this point.
And you go to give it to the Epping nurses station and they won't accept it. So patients have got to look after their own bloody blood and find ice and crap and not freeze the blood, because people don't know how to keep blood. It's got to be kept at a certain temperature, not bloody frozen.
George, guys.
How the hell do they run these places? That's all I can say.
Are you live?
Yeah. And they said they're starting to operate now, did they or not? What's your say? They're starting to operate now or not?
But the nurse always asks you have a surgery today.
Fuck the nurse, we're not talking about it. What did Tony say? Didn't Tony say that they said they were going to start operating at 12 o'clock? Again, start operating on people?
I don't know, but the operation is this day.
So,
Time.
no, I know that. So we might get a new table this afternoon, sometime tonight, I guess. But what a fucking balls up, I can't. I don't know how the country runs, I really don't. Bloody shit like. Bloody shit like. But last night, we had that much. They keep moving a drip from one place to another place, and all they do is change the bloody needle. And I've got blood in the drip line. Instead of being sanitised, they're putting a new bit of tube in, which costs a couple of cents. They keep putting the same dirty bloody line back in. It's got old dried blood or whatever, and everything else has been going through the bloody tube.
All right, sorry about that on the editing. Uh, all right, so in that clip, you heard him discuss about the reuse of needles, and also his arms were torn up from top to bottom. Now, this it would not be a norm, but if his veins are collapsing because he's dehydrated, because he's got pneumonia, and he did say that he did have pneumonia, so he's coughing, hacking. I'm even surprised they were even going to do the surgery, but I'll get into that later. So this is now, he is waiting to go into enforced surgery. Again, as I'm to understand, he passed away during surgery. I'm surprised they even intubated him or even prepped him as sick as he was. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And yes, for those that are wondering, that is a woman that appears to be in a, what do they call those? A sports brawl? Usually those are, well, I guess some people do exercise in them. So, but anyways, it's hot in the hospital, guys. She's actually in a sports brawl. Not his wife, somebody else. And I want to let you know that Kelly was 69 years old. As I'm to understand, there is about a 40-year age gap with his wife. So he had discussed with me some how he had been divorced a few times. He does have a daughter, an adult daughter that lives in Australia. And sadly, his wife, Lisa, here has been through a lot, abusive relationships, and he, like I said, he was dealing with a lot of things with her, like typical, what I would say, younger Filipino problems. And then while he was in the hospital.
Sila man diha nang nakakita. Ako kita ko sa aso. Aso ra man pod.
Oh shit. Push the button. I don't know. I'm still bloody waiting. It's about 10 o'clock at night, is it? What's the time? 7:56. It seems a lot later. I'm still using the theatre. They say it'll probably go on later. But my Christ, every time I have to get a reboost of the painkiller injection to kill the bloody pain, they don't think. They just push it in and fucking plunge it in like it's a fucking race car. Same as Dennis used to do me years ago. He said, look, you idiot, you're putting it into a fucking place and you're putting that needle where there's no hole for anything to be pushed into, so you're expanding the skin. Just do it slow and it's not painful. And it started getting good, but even though they're putting it into an IV here, they're putting it in too quick, a full dose, and it's not getting through the body in a matter of split seconds, so it's putting the whole body into shock, all the muscles, and you go through all the bloody same pain as if you'd just had the accident. Every time they bloody do it, every 12 hours, and you got about a half an hour of sheer fucking pain, because the cunts can't do it, fucking slow it down. Unbelievable. Hope we can get in and out of this shithole tonight. Get this bloody hit done. Thanks for everybody's assistance and kind words out there. And take care. Better sign off now. Okay, hon. Bang it.
All right, guys, I want to let you know that previous clip I wanted to show you really quick was right before he went in. Again, I was just telling George, I'm really shocked that they did the surgery on him because the man could barely breathe. He clearly, I'm not a doctor, but I've been in the medical field, could see that he was having what appeared to be some sort of organ failure, like he was swelling up. His feet were swelling. His hands were really swelling. I was just telling him that I just seen a bunch of TikToks of his wife where she's laying all over him doing TikToks up in his bed in the last 48 hours. And I'm like, okay, that was kind of inappropriate, but who knows? But you could see there that he was swollen really bad. He's a big expat, like me. He's plus size and everything, but he already had issues. So I'm still surprised that they went forward. So that was right before, as I'm to understand, and this was a few days before. So this is just the end of it. She was just doing TikToks. Now, here's the thing. I must say, none of us know what it's like except for to be in her shoes. She was there every day. She was feeding him. The family was there. She did her best job for her being as young as she was. She was really young, as I'm to understand, somewhere under the age of 25. And that she just probably didn't know how to act. You see what I mean? She was bored. They sat there for 14 days. She's his runner. She does everything for him. She gets his food, his medicine. She had to run for his blood. When they got the blood, they didn't want to store it there. So they didn't even know what to do with the blood when they got it. That was still his responsibility. That is insane. I would think after being in the year 2025, they would find a better system here to handle this.
They do, but it's a service. What I'm saying is, it's either you pick it up or you pay for the service. Down here in Angeles, it's Jet Force, but I don't know where he's at. Well, I mean, in his area, of course, obviously, it's a different service.
Yeah, every area was.
Yeah.
So I have one other clip of the hospital I'm going to play here in a minute, but so there's so many different things to discuss, down to funeral arrangements, down to cost, paying up front for the hospital. So I'm trying to figure out how I want to go through this. Let me show a real quick clip of the hospital itself to give you an idea of prevention. That's what I was going to. Yeah, that just came in. Let's see. Because I have a list of some of the hospitals itself. Like some of the better hospitals, like when Michael Onstad, he has a Facebook group, he was discussing the hospital that he would go to would be St. Luke's. And I would agree, except for St. Luke's, it would take us, an hour and 20 to get there. In traffic, an hour and 30, 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, again, in the Philippines, it's not about distance, it's about travel time. It's really not that far. However, I mean, from Angeles City, but it's like about 2 hour drive from here, not because of the distance, but because of travel time.
Isn't she cute?
Oh, she's
such a good girl. Yeah, no, it's Sarah, the new kitten. She's such a good girl. She's been using the cat box. But so some of the good hospitals here that are in the rankings is St. Luke's. Is it Chungwai or Chungua? Chungwai. That's all. I am just pronouncing it. Medical City Clark, which is the offices I go to now. That would be our preference. Cardinal Santos Medical Center and Asian Hospital Manila. Okay, understand that if you're used to certain standards of hospitals in the West, these will be as comparable. I know some equipment's outdated at Medical City. It would be St. Luke's. That's probably the most up-to-date and connected. Also, I'll get into some of the costs later about keeping the insurances and everything, but you're going to have to pay up front for these hospitals. I'm going to tell you that right now. You're going to have to pay up front. And some will take some will actually take the insurance and pay if you have the right one, but usually they want cash deposits, probably 10, 20, 30,000 pesos, which is about $500 US. Some will take credit cards. When he was at this hospital, they actually told him he needed to bring the cash. That's crazy because he couldn't walk or move. So then I guess it'd be up to his wife. So then you would have to have her go and do it. So the trash is not disposed of, especially during the pandemic. And we told you guys there's a problem with waste disposal here in the Philippines. So Now they are building a newer facility. The last footage I seen of that, it didn't seem to appear that it was completed yet. I knew they started building it a few years ago. So, um, um, so Michael Onstad and others have said if you can avoid it, don't use a provincial or public hospital. It would have to be a last resort. For like you have no plan, no nothing going on, not a lot of savings. Understand that cash is almost a must. Somebody started telling Michael that they're like, oh, well, what would you tell people with a credit card? He says, yeah, the machines are down most of the time. The chances of it going through or rejecting is pretty good. So you're going to have the cash anyways. So a lot of people are like, well, here's my medical plan. I've got a credit card from the U.S. Then you find out every 6 months, like our bank, we had credit cards and debit cards. We had to call every few months to say, hey, I'll check it out. What you doing up there, Sonny? Sonny, or the
Grumpy,
new kitten? Yeah,
Grumpy.
yeah, Grumpy Cat.
He's not grumpy. He just looks.
I
Grumpy.
can't tell male or female. This is one that was outside a few days ago with the other cats, and so this one, I don't know. I'm starting to think, yeah.
Well, I think he's male.
So, is it most of the yellow cats that are all yellow male? There's some theory about, you said that all calicos are female.
I haven't seen a female one yet, but
yeah, they all seem to be male.
I'm pretty sure there's male versions. I'm sure.
Oh, look who's the babysitter, though.
Oh, yeah.
Always
have a runner, especially in provincial or public hospitals. Always have a runner. Like if you go to St. Luke, you probably don't need a runner, but if you go anywhere else, I would say 80% chance you'll need a runner.
You can touch my cup that came in when you were.
This is a Starbucks cup, by the way, guys.
It's the peppermint coffee. Go ahead and try. You can put your lips on there. I'll tell you where my lips were last night when you were gone. Let me tell you a story about the monkey, me, and the neighbors. We had a popcorn party. So anyway, yeah, try to have that cash. And more so than not at most of the hospitals, which sometimes that's when it's good to have the insurance because there'll be regulated prices. Prices go up for expats. Michael Onstad and others have said on a regular basis, the prices go up for expats. And so that's why dealing with the provincial hospitals or the government hospitals that aren't private, but private hospitals can gouge you too. There's one right across the street from us here that's been known to gouge Filipinos all the time. So people say, oh, it's not because you're an expat. I promise you they will find 101 tests. I told you, it seems like they were doing
usually
extras.
They do tests, for example.
Like the U.S., they do that in the U.S.
In AU, personally, I know of this. They do run tests, which, in my opinion, are unnecessary. And I'm not going to mention his name. He's a doctor, and he's part of the family. But anyway, what I'm saying is that he quit that hospital because of such practices, because he doesn't believe in it. What I'm saying is it is a real thing that they do charge you for tests, that even though a doctor doesn't need to do like an EKG if you have a broken leg, that kind of deal. I mean, that's an obvious like big contrast. I'm saying that
I'm surprised they didn't do a bunch more tests knowing he had pneumonia and they're about ready to put him into major surgery. Like, they checked my heart, they did all that, and I see that. And doctor offices will bring you in all the time in the U.S. So nothing really changes when you get here. Just the actual hospitals, like the provincial one, really gets scary. Now, people keep asking us, what do we feel would be an amount of cash to store away? Probably 40 or 50,000 US, because anything major you could blow through 20,000 US dollars just paying for, stents or other things going on. Then you're going to need some shit money to get back to the US. You're going to need 40,000 easy is a good ideal. Now I will let you know, I've discussed this. We always said we had around 60,000 US when we came here, but we are going through it like water. Medical issues took up a bunch, and just expenses we didn't expect to actually have. Cost of living going up, and so 40,000 would be a good starting point. Not that people will actually come with that. They tend to lean on credit cards and everything. So, but yes, this government hospital that Kelly was in has been ridiculed. There's been defamation against them. There has been complaints. There's all kinds of smearing of the hospital name, but there's been a lot that actually goes on. Since I've been talking to Kelly since he was in there, he's definitely unhappy. Understand he is sitting in a room with probably 8 or 9 people in a bed, a small room, no AC. They finally put sheets up around him. They didn't initially do that, and everything was outdated. His IV setup looked outdated. Everything was outdated. So basically, in my opinion, it was short of like war. I mean, like being in a battlefield almost. I mean, everything was really, and pretty much isn't that where they have to go if they're on Phil Health? Because a lot of people lean into Phil Health, which is $300 or $400 a year now for expats. Expats wasn't able to get that insurance years ago, but now you can get Phil Health. So
Well, you can
and it pays
use
20%
Phil
of it.
Health, like for example, AU takes Phil Health, and it does take a good chunk.
I thought it only paid 20% or 30%. I forgot what the amount is.
The amount actually varies as per condition of, for example, if let's say heart failure, it may cover up to 70%, but let's say you're having like a pneumonia, it may cover 30%. It varies. There's a sliding scale of how much it will cover. Again, I'm not a doctor nor am I insurance adjuster, so I can't tell you exactly their sliding scale, but it varies. It varies.
Good morning, Slick Rick. Good morning, Ted. Good morning to our members. We appreciate you guys being here. It's more than heartbreaking. I had a good cry yesterday. I spoke with another expat that has a YouTube channel, and I was like, I seen there was a weird post, and the post said he's gone, and I'm like, oh no 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 no! Don't tell me he's gone. And I had a really hard time yesterday. It's really rough yesterday because it just makes you realize that not only is life short, that, I mean, it just puts me in the perspective that this could happen to me. I've already slipped and fell twice. I could have busted my head open. I could have, and I'm like, you count on, okay, you have open heart surgery, or something like that. Screw it. When my heart goes out, it goes out, or my legs go out. That's just it. You run down the clock. But at this point, something like that is not what you actually plan on. And it's like, I already have enough issues going on that I know that could be me next. I know that can be me next. George, not so much.
Well, no, actually, no, me too. Honestly, again, now this is a serious mortality thing, and that's why I keep saying on this channel that retire when you can, because honestly, you can retire. Like for example, whatever happened to Kelly, it can happen to you literally a week or a month after you retire. And what I'm saying is, I mean,
yeah, I had an article here. The average life expectancy is 78 in America. Okay,
right.
I'm sorry. I believe heavily that you guys lose years when you come here. Even though I had lupus, I still had lupus in the US. After I got to Asia, a lot of people are like, oh, my life improved. I got off my medications. I did this, this, and that. I wouldn't say that. I'm thinking I'm aging really fast right now. I don't know why.
Well,
I don't know if it's the
flies.
heat. There's something else going on. But it could just be me. It could just be me. But once you come here, I'm telling you, it seems like people's lives get shaved somehow, some way. I don't know if they stop their medication. I don't know if they throw caution and they're drinking more. It's the greasy, salty food, the extra sex with the younger women. And not many people have their life put together where, like, I just seen an expat that his channel's got like 80,000 people that did a video, and he's going on about how he's got this insurance, he's got this savings, and he's got it back in the US and how everything's planned out. Yeah, but he could slip and fall and something could happen and then it could eat up all the savings. And there's so many things that could go wrong even if you actually plan. And this is something that people don't talk about. But if the life expectancy is 78 years old and the official retirement is 67,
Right.
you let that sink in for a moment, guys. We're spending nearly 50 years working, waking up early, rushing through traffic, dealing with pressure, deadlines, expectations, responsibilities for what they call freedom, and especially what's going on in the West. But the average person gets around 10 to 12 years of retirement. And that's if they do that. They're still talking about raising the age again. They've been talking about raising the age on Social Security. So we sacrifice our youth working, and you sacrifice your middle age recovering, and then we're expected to enjoy whatever's left, hoping that our bodies are going to be okay. But here's what I've been reading. I read all day yesterday after this. I panicked because George wasn't here. And I told you he was at the house with his uncle and stayed the night. And I was reading everything. So I just started going into that rabbit hole. And a lot of people are like, that are sick already. They're like, some of them, it's hard. I know with me being sick, it's hard. I don't want George to be around me as I'm falling apart. And people, the families want you to live forever, but the feelings of the person that is in hospice or the people that are sick, it's like, I don't know, you spend the last 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years of your life falling apart. And I love how people are like, oh, I'm in good shape and I'm this and I'm that and I'm active and all that. And that's never going to happen to me. Yeah, that's what, 1 out of 10, maybe 2 out of 10, maybe. Not sorry, sunshine. Not everybody can be sunshine, boom, boom, shoulders. You know what I mean? Not everybody. True story. So it's just like, but for me, it's not. My health has declined since I've actually entered the Philippines. Now, here's the thing. I want to let you know that if I was back in the U.S., I'm sure the exact same thing would be going on. The steroids would be getting me. I still wouldn't be active. This is going
Well,
on.
actually,
I'm getting the
get
treatment,
more pills than
which I don't
ever.
believe I need. Yeah, they would have gave me a ton of pain pills, and I'll pass on that at this point. For good reasons, but they tend to over medicate you in the U.S. is what I'm saying. I would just be sleeping all day. With the medications they had me on before I got here, I'd just be sleeping all day. So I don't want to sleep all day, sleep my life away either. So
Yeah, and again, like a reality check for you guys. For example, Ted. Hey, Ted, how you doing? In November, Ted fell and he broke his ribs and it tore his lung, and that's a very painful and actually he's still recovering from it. And what I'm saying is, you have to remember, there's a chance. I mean, God bless that Ted is okay, but there's a chance that, let's say, for example, you fell. Let's say you're Ted. You fell. Your ribs tore your lung. Nobody's there to help. You're immobilized. Something fell on top of you. You're done. And what I'm saying is,
accidents are, yeah.
if you can retire now. Again, I don't get anything from this, obviously. Neither does Heidi. And we're not saying it because we get anything out of it. We're just saying it because from just having this channel, all the research and everything that we've been doing, most of the time, the people that retire do full retirement. They croak within 5 years of their retirement.
Seems to be that.
Yeah, it's a real thing. And actually, I've known this a long time ago because, Filipinos obviously, like, they talk to each other and all that kind of stuff. And that's what they always talk about. Like, yeah, she was strong. She was like she's always this, always that. And she retired, and then 3 years later, she's dead. You know, it's the same old story for us Filipinos. Like usually, um, I, it's kind of like a half joke with Filipinos. Yeah, you know, they retire and then they die. You know what I'm saying. And I've known this in my side for a long time, but since we've had this channel, my well, it's not these are, I would say, quasi facts, only because of course it varies and it's not, it changes, but the for the most part, a lot of people, once they retire, they don't have much time left when they go full retirement.
Yeah. Ted is asking about the policies of autopsies. It's usually the same as the U.S., as I'm to understand, violence or something.
Yeah, there has to be probable cause.
But they do them. They'll probably do one on him, being there were so many things going on, and it's up to his wife also. Like, they have to get her permission and do all
Yeah.
of that. And like I said, his adult daughter is involved. The cost, though, seems to be fairly reasonable. It's a couple thousand pesos.
Yeah.
1,000, 2,000 at that hospital is probably going to be about 1,000. And but understand, any of those bills, it's not like, well, they can still take your house and crap in America to pay for a bill, but she will be solely responsible for that bill. So he went ahead and had the surgery. As I'm to understand, I don't know if it happened or not, he had made probably half of that on the GoFundMe, and thank you everybody for that. That helped
for your
him.
help, and that helped him, and whatever's left, obviously, the wife will leave.
Well, they went ahead and did it. The sister helped finish up the rest of the costs, so they had already acquired that. So, but I'm sure there's going to be more, because the medicine alone was around $40 a day, and then there was other expenses for being there. So I'm sure that she's going to be left with the bill. But sorry, go ahead.
No.
Something else to give you an idea of cost, beings we're in this, is the average funeral in this area. Kind of give you an idea, can be 8,000 up to a 500,000 pesos. But the basic 8,000, maybe to 10,000, which is around $200, is its basic pickup, basic
That's
cremation.
Yeah.
Bare minimum. That's not a showing. That's nothing. But then they could be super elaborate, days of, being at the funeral home and all of that. Now, a lot of people have asked about the repatriation. Some people want the family back in America once the body's back and everything. Somewhere around 1,000,000 pesos for the whole setup and stuff, which is about 20,000, 17 to 20,000 to have something done like this. Special storage, the flight. It might become less, of course, if it's ashes or something, of course, and all of it's going to vary. It's all going to vary. All vary for province.
Right.
And basic cremation, if you're not Heidi, is about 12,000. $1,200 US, or about 65,000. For me, they're going to charge double. So,
yeah. Now,
just roll me in the lake with the gators.
On the human remains part, since we're talking about this again, I'm sure I'll get a lot of flack for this one.
Hashtag cancel Georgian event.
Now, if you're gonna take, for example, even if it's ashes, if you're gonna go the legal route, you will need a special permit from the Philippine government to allow the ashes from the cremation to enter the country through customs. Now, that's the legal route. Now, the not so legal route, you're on your own. I can't really say anything on that. Honestly.
You're talking about bringing them in.
Yeah, bringing them in. Now,
okay.
Bringing out, it's no different. What I'm saying is, you can't just go in a plane with an urn in your hand. Now, you may need a special permit for that too.
Not with the pesky old camera things, X-rays.
Right. So, again, if you want to go the not so legal route, that's all up to you. I wash my hands. I'm not going to tell you how to smuggle a cremated body.
right?
Just
I'm
figure it out. It's not that hard. But
Yeah.
anyway,
yeah. So the things that he was dealing with, whatever could have happened, total failure for him, is he ended up slip and fall on the mossy stuff. Which, by the way, I've been every time it rains. Seems to be the first half of the year, and there's a thick
oh Jesus,
film that gets on the ground where it's just green and mossy.
moss. It's moss. Yeah.
And so he slipped and fell, busted himself, ended up there. And then he ended up with pneumonia. Then there was the fire. And did you get to see the fire video, or did you come in on that?
No. But
Yeah.
now the moss thing, that's a normal thing. Like for example, in our carport, I do pressure wash this occasionally because moss does grow in the carport. Point being, it's a carport. It's not closed in. It's not nothing. It's open.
Mhm.
The sun hits it, and yet moss grows on it because it constantly rains. So what I'm saying is, on his side, he probably goes through something similar, something with an awning, and there's probably a moss patch that he kind of
Right. And
meh.
and with our age, I hate to say it, we feel like we can do stuff. These guys get here and they get some sort of superpower and
No,
stuff.
we all
So
feel
it's
like we're 25, but our body can't keep up.
right. And so I get dizzy, I misplace. Like George will see me, I get going really quick on everything, and I get excited or just wound up, and then boom, something falls. How many times a year do I break glass here in this house? I'm constantly breaking stuff,
No, shit.
and I really do. And it's like, but for him, it just could have been. He could have been. He's not a spring chicken, but he's not. But we just get off balance, and we're just not the same. So he had the pneumonia, he had the fire, the blood issue, the storage of it and everything, and then he had the surgery and then passed away. And you know what that means? A few things. It's that recovery. My last message to him, less than 12 hours before he passed away, I told him, I said, I wish I could bring you blood. And I said, I know my plasma and all that would work. I said, but even if I could, it was an 18-hour driving. We're that
Well,
distant. And I'm on steroids and I'm on aspirins and my medication. Both of those I would have to wait weeks to clear
that
from.
18 hours is everything's perfect.
Right. That's if everything's
Yeah.
perfect. So I told him that you do realize not only is hip surgery extremely painful, really painful, but it's going to be months, if not a year, in recovery of constant therapy. And I said, you're going to have to go back and forth. And imagine the transport. He sold his car. So what's he going to do? Get into a trike out in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah.
He's going to get on a jeepney. He's going to get in a cab.
Yeah.
He had 600. He had 600 U.S. dollars or Australian dollars before he started. That was gone right away. So there's so much going on. So #cancel Heidi was probably the better thing, that he passed away peaceful. He was in so much pain. He was hacking and coughing. I think they chipped his teeth. He was discussing that they did something and broke his teeth, or there's something where it broke one of his front teeth and it was cutting his mouth constantly. So the poor guy just went through everything. So when they say it's your time, it's your time, because the recovery, if you already had pneumonia, my guess also with the broken hip and things going on inside, he might have started to get an infection. That does get all kind of.
It does happen, and usually sepsis is usually a number one, ex-nay.
Yeah. So yes, they were reusing his same needles. Yeah, that could be. Yeah, probably. Huh. He's been barking at nothing. He was barking last night. I could have sworn the trash guy came around, and that was.
I was taking pictures of the empty lot.
I'm thinking they're prepping it to sell. So yeah, they've been cleaning up and blocking off the lot across the street. So because there's all kinds of new property going up in the area. We live probably less. How long? What are we? About a mile? Not even a mile from the new store, George.
Not even.
the Walter Mart. So everything's up and coming in this area. So we're by the interstate. We're in a really good area. So I bet you somebody buys that and turns it into an apartment. They'll build something that'll go up like these other ones have. So, but
I don't see a sign yet, though.
But yes, they reuse the needle. He was discussing how they were breaking the crusty blood off of it and they put the needle, which, hey, it is your needle. If you were in war and everything, it is. But even for him as an Australian, it would have been like, it would have freaked all of us out in the U.S.
Well, you have to. No, this is a serious thing because, like, the thing is, I don't like going to hospitals and I don't like going to the vet. The only reason being is because it's logical that unless you really, really life and death situation have to, then yes, go. But if you can skirt around going to a hospital or a vet, I say vet because we have a lot.
Yeah,
a lot of
Filipinos
vets.
don't run. We did back in the
Yeah.
U.S. because we have insurance and because, I mean, it's not getting any better now in the U.S., but 5-6 years ago, at the drop of a hangnail, I was calling my doctor because of my lupus and other conditions. So we were prone to just go no matter what, and they were
Well-
glad to take the cases.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if you go to a hospital, you have a higher probability of getting sicker.
Yeah.
And same thing with your pets. Like, for instance, like parvo. I'm just going like with a simple, relatable thing. Parvo, for example. They can douse the area with alcohol and they could still get it. And that's why.
You clean for months.
That's
if
what I'm
that
saying.
happens,
You can take, and guess what? Guess how many parvo patients these vets get?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And what I get it, humans don't get parvo, but point being is when you go to where people are sick constantly
Yeah,
and
you
they
cough
go
it.
in, you have a very high probability.
The hospital it's NOPH, Negros Oriental Public Hospital.
Yeah, somebody took that. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's
says-
only
it
it's
says
in
Engros.
Dumagetti. If you're trying to get a better idea, they consider it Dumagetti. Good morning, Lucca. Yeah, reusing needles. Yeah.
Yeah, speaking
Negros
of
Public. Yeah.
shorter life, I
There-
got you something.
Oh no,
I got you something.
we're not coming home yesterday. You didn't get one of the? Oh, you got a Violet Crumble. It's from Australia.
That is so
Aw.
good. That is so good.
Aw.
Eh.
Yeah.
And
I'll take one for the team later, guys.
I got my Bubby some heart attack sticks.
No, actually, that's not so bad. It's actually chicharron, which is higher protein, better
But
than
this
the
is
chips.
the chicharron with meat on it, a lot of meat.
You only got one, bitch?
Whoa! I still
Pump the
think
brakes.
about you. I'm not here to kill you. I'm trying to. That's just a treat.
After yesterday, every day is a party.
Oh, there you go.
So, I know.
Yeah.
And here we are talking about medical issues. Here's another thing. It seems to be, we've discussed this, a lot of people stop their medical treatment, though. They heart meds, they stop different things. I was saying, God rest his soul, Mark Thornton passed away about a year ago, left behind a son, a whole entire discussion. He had some issues in his area, not getting along with expats, all kinds of things. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, boo-hiss, you guys hate him. No, that wasn't the issue. And here you guys are promoting this guy. No, not really. There's a big difference in these two guys. This guy had an accident and didn't expect to. And he did try to plan. Life happens. And he was just living his life just like Mark Thornton was. But Mark was also taking hormonal injections, stopped other medications. He came here with valves in his heart and suicidal tendencies years ago. And he kind of put himself in a boat, including having a child and leaving a young child and wife behind right before this all happened. And he, what can I say about Mark? Except for he's another expat that passed away due to medical conditions. And this is happening more often than not, and it's a topic people don't want to talk about.
Yeah. Now here's the thing, and actually I just said it to Heidi during this live while the clip was playing.
Yeah, St. Luke's is really good.
Now, here's my belief. This is an opinion. Okay, it's not a medical statement. I
Good
don't
morning,
know the full
Sperling.
situation.
Good morning, Cindy. Good morning.
Now,
Good morning.
Kelly, the Australian guy. Now, to my understanding, that he passed away under the knife, which means in all probability he's asleep.
Yeah,
And I
trying to.
told Heidi, well, at least when he passed away, he was at peace.
That's what yeah, because that was going to be a long recovery. He had pneumonia. There was a lot going on when he passed
Yeah.
away.
Now about Mark. Okay. Now keep in mind, this is not against Mark. It really isn't.
Yeah, no.
Because honestly, I'm gonna tell you right now, the way that Mark passed is the way, in my opinion, I want to pass. What I'm saying is, I'm gonna be honest with you. My theory, I'm gonna tell you right now, this is an opinion, and it's not against Mark, because again, this is how I want to pass. Is Mark, okay, obviously he's not young anymore. He has taken TRT. In all probability, he's taking the V pill.
I'm going to hell.
So what I'm saying is, if he's taking the V pill, in my opinion, he probably passed away in what Filipinos say, namatay sa sarap, which means he passed
Heaven
away.
tastes like ice cream.
Yeah, while he's
Licking the cone.
eating his ice cream, so to speak. That's when he passed away.
That's what I thought.
Like he had a heart attack, like while doing the deed. If that makes any sense. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I think that's how he passed. It's my theory, nobody else's.
I
Oh.
said I'm going to hell.
Oh.
So, we.
Oh wow.
We
So what I'm saying is, again, it's
we keep getting messages. I don't know if you guys do on Facebook, where you get the scammers from Nigeria and other ones, or the ones that come in and say, "Did you hear about this, and that?" And there's a letter, and it's kind of religious, but it's not. And then they want you to click on a link, and they're trying to tell you about something. They start out the same way. They'll come in and say, like this one, "Oh, how are you doing? How are you doing lately?" None of our people contact us like that come through Facebook. They always say, they come in with something different about the Philippines. We can tell the difference. This person I knew was a scammer right away. So they're like, "How you doing?" And I was like, "My husband died yesterday." And they come back and they're like, "Oh, sorry, deepest condolences," and they went away.
well, I had somebody contact me yesterday. In all probability, it's true, because she was a Nigerian princess. So
Oh, please.
it's not a Nigerian prince. So this can't be fake. Just saying.
Yeah. But something else I want to discuss, moving on to the next thing, is that he was in there for 2 weeks. Again, understand you're going to have a runner. They're going to have to go for medicine. They'd be the one with the pain meds afterwards. And that's another thing. They somewhat was under medicating him. So in other words, they're more cautioning on the side of safety due to addiction and everything. And he kept discussing that they would go long periods. And I get he's in pain, but sometimes once a day, twice a day.
No,
on
that's
pain
about
meds.
right, because they take
They let you hit a button every 4 hours in the U.S. So
no. See, that there's a difference there. No, here the doctor himself has to pay an astronomical bill every year to keep.
for
Yeah,
meds.
no. Point being is they'll try to under medicate you if possible. Not because they're dicks. It's because it's the way the system works.
Yeah, well, and on top of that, but just understand, if you guys are looking for top of the line, then you guys need to live. If you're that worried, you're gonna have to live near St. Luke's in Manila. Go to like Makati or Greenbelt area. I think they call it Greenbelt, in an area
Yes,
where
Greenbelt. Yeah.
if you got the money to actually do it, or over here and be near Clark, that's exactly why we're this close. But in an extreme emergency where I would need immediate, I don't even think we'd even make it. We'd be right across the street. It's a private hospital across the street, but that's the one where they still make people sit outside waiting to get into the emergency.
Well, here's one of the myths kind of break in, and what I'm getting at is, what I'm about to say is not the myth. I'm saying this goes against the myths. The reality is, if you're in the Philippines and you want Western service, you pay Western prices. That includes hospitality. Now, this is where it kind of gets grayed, only because of the new situation in the U.S. If you want to, for example, you go to St. Luke, you're going to pay U.S. prices.
Good
However,
morning,
that's assuming, okay, that St. Luke's in the U.S. haven't changed their prices astronomically. But point being
you will pay,
is,
yeah.
the general rule is in the Philippines, if you want Western services, you have to pay Western prices.
It won't quite be Western prices, like Michael was
It'll
saying.
be a little.
If you spend
lower,
a
but-
$500,000, like a lot of the insurances, Michael was discussing, like one of the best policies here, if you can be insured, would be Pacific Cross. Somewhere it could average $300 to $600 a month, give or take, for certain policies. But in a case like that you would have that, he says that's the best way is to be insured inside the Philippines. So a lot of people make the mistake and they insure themselves on the outside for about
Yeah,
a half a
'cause-
million US dollars,
Remember-
which is way too much. He said
Yeah.
you would have to have a brain transplant at that point to spend a half a million US dollars. Heart surgeries probably range, I'm just going to take a wild guess, it was 30 or 40,000 US. If you went to the US, that would be 400,000 or more.
Not
So,
to mention, it mostly only applies to the U.S.
right. So then you're over insured and then you could be overpaying. But you come here and then for me, that is still high, especially when I'm a self-pay. Nothing may happen to me for a long time, but it's like, it also has to be in your budget. And for me, I'm practically uninsurable because of my weight, my size, my lupus, my cancer, all these other things that are hitting me. It's just like I'm a walking, situation. So, Lucas says, when you move to the Philippines, you got medical conditions, please check out the hospitals near you and visit them. Yeah. And see how the services are and be prepared. Yeah, have a plan A, B, and C. And believe me, yesterday I came up with a plan C.
No, and
Trust and
visit
believe
the
it.
hospitals. I mean, what I'm saying, while you're healthy, so you know what you're up against, how to travel there. Not to mention, that also tells you, for example, if a grab, like say if it's not like life-threatening, if you can even take a grab there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because again, remember, that's why I don't have anything against living in the province. I really don't. The issue is
Convenience.
convenience. Like, or if they can get to you, or if you can get out when you have to need to.
So here I'm replaying the fire that he dealt with less than 24 hours ago. Well, he passed away yesterday. So this was like right before this, within a day of the surgery. Poor guy.
Dali!
And notice how the people are coming out of the window. Look at him get out.
Dali!
Yeah, he was dealing with. Yeah, so that give you an idea. They had a fire. I want to say that it was. They announced he passed away yesterday, and I have his death photo. Okay, and at the hospital, I cannot show that. And that's what really hit me, is to see him laying there like that.
No, it's really sad.
And it was dated for yesterday. And where he was talking earlier was the night before this had happened, not that night. So yeah, it was about a day or so before the fire did. So then he had the fire, couldn't get the blood, couldn't get the finances, and the whole time, could you imagine the panic in him sitting in the hospital, the pure panic? It just had to be terrifying, and that much pain and stuff. And it's like, take me outside and get that sledgehammer, because there's no way, that's insane to sit there. And then there's got to be a form of shame and humility going on. They had him in a diaper the whole time. They had him, and his wife was putting all that and alive on him all the time. So he also sat there. I just noticed that one of ours was showing him. Well, actually, we replayed his own live, where his wife put it on there. I just noticed, I was like, crap, he's in a diaper. and it was not intentional and stuff, but yeah, he's just sitting there with a bunch of people staring at him, and he's an expat. So not only top of that, I hate to say it, he just stuck out. Like anybody that came in that room in and out for those 2 weeks was like, what the heck? What's he doing in here? Because it's a white Western expat man sitting there, it kind of would take some people back. Like, what is he doing in here with all that money?
Yeah, now
Skin privilege. What are you doing in here?
the one thing I like about the wife. Now, keep in mind that I don't know. I wasn't there. From what I've seen and what's on social media, because again, that's our main thing. I don't know how long she stays in the hospital. If she stays overnight,
She
or
does
what.
go back, but she,
But
for the most
she's
part, was
there
sleeping.
for the most part, always there.
Yeah, sleeping in his bed. Oh, and that's another thing. When I was showing you guys the footage, I'm not going to replay it again, of the hospital, these people live in there. Like family. There's 4 or 5 members there living in
Well,
the
that's what I'm
hospital
saying.
for
I
a
don't
week at
know
a
if
time.
she went home,
They're
'cause
washing their
some
clothes.
people don't go home at all.
Yeah, they showering in there. They're washing their clothes in the bathroom. They stay there, and it's like, it's just things you wouldn't picture. Hell, I didn't even want to brush my teeth in a regular hospital in the U.S. I waited till I got home, like when my daughter had a baby. It's like, yeah, I'm here for a day. My teeth can wait, and I'm drinking a ton of coffee anyway. So it's just like, could you imagine fully in there doing your pits and everything? Get your bits and pits and stuff.
No, yeah, no.
It only take George about a minute for that, but
Yeah,
for me, it's an all
that's
day.
what I mean. It's at least
For me, it's an all-day
seemed
job.
like she was always there.
Right. So, my Filipino friends are telling me that many times they were openly asked by doctors if they have a foreign boyfriend. Yeah. I cannot live in the province if it was a serious relationship with Filipino province. She would have, yeah, especially with this large of an age gap. I have a few things where I've been seeing really huge age gaps in these guys and ladies, at least 40 years like him. And yeah, that would be scary living out there with the family out in the province with no conveniences. I'm sorry. I've been with George well, and I just couldn't do it. I'd be like, no. The hospital thing, maybe, but if you can't have things delivered or you can't go these places, I just couldn't. The only reason I would go out there is because I like the ideal of a farm, but hell, there's a farm all around me now, anyways. All these chickens outside and all the things going on, but that would be my only reasoning to consider that. But yes, these guys don't realize, and I think that's how a lot of them are passing away. Possibly when they do need, like medicine, in certain province areas, you're just not going to get the medicine. It's bad enough in the city here. We can only get 2 weeks at a time, 3 weeks at a time of medicine, sometimes 1 week at a time of medicine in the city.
Now, the provincial thing. The one silver lining about being with a provincial girl, because keep in mind, I'm being very specific here. I'm talking about if your partner is a girl. If you're a girl, that's fine. But what I'm saying is, if your partner, Filipino partner, is a girl, here's the silver lining if you live in the province. Because in all probability, if you're living in the province with a Filipina, in all probability, you'll be living in her territory. And what I'm getting at is, the silver lining there is if you, for example, date, like for example, let's say me and Heidi aren't together and I start dating a Filipino and she lives in Samar. And the reason I mentioned Samar is
You got a chick over in Samar or something?
all the time. All right. So
I'll
what
be
I'm saying
checking
is,
your phone again later.
there's a lot of the reason why there's a lot of Sumerians. I don't know if that's what they're really called, but there's a lot of Sumerians that live in Indian City. What I'm getting at is, if I were to meet a Sumerian chick and date her, there's a high probability that she has kids already, and she's hiding them in the province with her
If
mom.
I ever find out you date a woman with kids, I'm gonna break your neck right there on the spot.
Well, that's my point. Is a lot of these girls who are in cities that are provincial girls. Again, nothing against provincial girls, but most of them do have children and they are in the province. So what I'm saying is, if you're in the province and that's their territory, at least you would know that they're kids, maybe. Maybe I say maybe because sometimes they say, "Oh, that's my niece.
Yeah, you can't
That's
trust
my
all that.
nephew." But at least you know they're there. What I'm saying is, I mean, you can play stupid all you want. Trust your gut. If your gut tells you that's not her niece.
Yeah,
You get my picture?
Luck was saying with no health insurance you need 5 million. So yeah, that's about 70,000. I bet you 1-2% of these expats would even come with that kind of money. A lot of them are desperate, horny, after the women, coming to drink, coming to live their best life the last 5 years. Can't blame them on that. And living on credit cards. The other part brings a small portion like us. It was during the pandemic. It was earlier than we thought. We had around 60 something thousand, but we spent a lot in Mexico waiting for the country to reopen because we set up a whole house over there. It could have been 2 years before we got out there. We didn't know. And we considered staying. Then we left everything and gave it to the landlord. And we got here, we fully set up. We've got a brand new house full of stuff now. And so we've totally set our life up here. And so, yeah, probably 70 or 80,000. It'd be nice if that's what they plan to actually bring. But a lot of guys are getting into these online relationships, desperate, showing up, pre-building houses, and then, set up for what you looking at?
Oh no, I was looking now.
17,000 per million. Yeah.
Right. The only reason why I looked that up is because that's the benchmark. What I'm saying is, if you got into a serious accident, for instance, or anything serious like Kelly, that's about how much I would say you probably should have in the bank. It's 1 million pesos on average.
And see, I'm curious of how he was going to pay for therapy. I get the doctor said he did it for free. Public hospitals still have bills. So he just paid for the hip. They did the surgery allegedly for free. What was he going to do for 6 months worth of therapy? What was he going to do for all the medicine afterwards, the pain meds? I just don't know where the finances would have came after that.
Well, I mean, I'm not picking on Kelly, but what I'm saying is that as far as payments go, you may have to go without them. And therapy, that may be, I put air quotes on it, optional.
Well, he would have to do some. Or,
No.
or
I
he
know.
would just be sitting in a
They'll
chair.
probably
There'd be no.
instruct him
So here's the thing.
if he's lucky.
At this point, he pretty much was just trying to get out of pain. He might have been stuck in a chair forever, is my thought.
Right.
And he's a big guy because I was telling him in my message that it's going to be painful. And they told me that they wouldn't even do the surgery until I lost most of my weight. And when I was back in the U.S., I was already overweight. Okay, not just a little, like 30, 40 pounds. We're talking, they said I had to lose all but whatever. Why? Because it would just continue to destroy my knees. Plus my legs, I wore braces as kids, so my legs turn in. And so I'm flat-footed and my feet turn in as I walk. It'll just destroy my knees again with my weight. So they refused to do the surgery until I lost weight. So he was oversized. And at that point, I guess it's one stage at a time. So in other words, you're trying to get out of pain. It would have stopped the pain. Now, all right, you can deal with the pain and all of that without the medicine, but a couple weeks maybe of therapy there in the hospital so they can try to help him, and then the rest of it he had to watch online or something.
Yeah, and again,
and try to do it with
by
his
hook
wife.
or by crook, ask questions. What I'm getting at is the thing is about the West, Australia, America, Britain.
I'm sorry to hear
Now,
about
if you're
that.
somewhere else out there, you're probably more accustomed to the regular thing. And what I mean regular thing is those countries I mentioned, usually doctors tend to cover all their bases. They tend to instruct you on what you should do, not do, how it's done, depending on what.
He was having a hard time with the doctors and nurses there.
Here in the Philippines, what I'm getting at is they assume that you know everything and that's your responsibility.
Well, I think in the U.S. with insurance and money and a lot of things are billed to insurance, there's tons of jobs. Like they've got these case managers that come in, the therapists come in, all this comes in and
There's
works
always
with you
somebody
like a
covering your
party.
base. That's the
Right.
thing.
Here,
That's the thing.
it, like you said, it's
No,
hook and crook.
it
They're not
doesn't
going to,
exist.
unless you go
And
to the bigger
it's
ones,
up
St.
to you
Luke's
to figure
and
shit
mhm,
out. And the
Cardinal,
reason
Asian
why,
Hospital,
yeah,
and even then, I don't think all of them.
we're right.
You're probably talking about St. Luke's,
That's why I brought
Western
this up.
Standard.
It's because, for example, remember I said that it's optional when it comes to his therapy. What I'm getting at is there's a chance that your doctor, if you go do this, for example, you have a broken leg, in the U.S. or in most Western countries, you go to therapy, but here, that's on you.
Yeah. Yeah. And Angelo said, "Are you allowed to be buried?" Yes, of course. Not only permanent resident, but I don't know. I don't know. What if they are a visitor? What if they're just here on vacation?
No, you're allowed to.
Okay.
No, a tourist, I don't know. You're not a
That's
tourist.
what I mean, a tourist, though.
Heidi's
Not
not
for
a
me,
tourist,
so I'm
so
permanent.
that doesn't apply to her. She
Yeah,
can't.
so I'm already
She's not a
and
tourist,
legally.
but tourists, I guess it's up to whoever that person's with. Honestly, I don't think they.
Okay, so what?
I don't think they give a damn.
Which will bring us. Not sure on that. Which will bring us into if you are actually, if you're not transported out for a certain thing, if you pass away as an expat, as I'm to understand, they will come and get you, and then they take you in. Depends on how it happened, autopsy and all that, and then the families and wife start making arrangement. Now, what your visa status is and all of that, wouldn't that be crappy if you were 3 years behind? They made you pay on top of that. They probably would, if you're behind on your immigration or not. It wouldn't surprise me in this country, being as it is, as I would say, a third world country or a developing nation, that they would make the wife pay up on that. Not that they're cruel. There's always an exception, but you would have the spouse. Like if your spouse contacts a funeral home, it's like in America, they'll make all arrangements. Like they'll try to contact the embassy. You'd want your spouse to do that. You should have that binder and folder, because whether it's George or a female, you're usually leaving a younger wife behind. They're going to need this paperwork. Mark Thornton set that up for his wife, which was really nice. They had everything actually planned out, so that was really good that he did, but a lot of them don't. So this one did not. They did not expect him to pass away. She really, really is going to be in a hole on this one. But yeah, I don't even know what she'll do. I'm assuming she'll just have him cremated, but where she's going to come up with the money, that funerals here can actually add up really
Speaking
quick.
of cremation, if you have the option to watch your dearly beloved cremated, don't. Do yourself a favor. Do not watch your dearly beloved cremated, because it's something that will burn into your head. You'll never forget. You may have nightmares. And I'm not.
Are we talking personal? Family member with recent
Well,
family
somebody
member?
mentioned in the chat that they watched the cremation and they regret it. The reason being is, guys, when somebody's being cremated, the body gets literally dehydrated, and muscles, guess what? They expand and contract. That's what makes us move. They expand, contract, expand.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, if my hand is like this and gets dehydrated, guess what? It's going to contract like normal. So what I'm saying is, most of the time, when a body's being cremated, it will animate and it will usually sit up.
Most people don't watch. That's usually
No, I know
done
that,
in
but
another room.
the only reason why I say that is somebody did watch, and again, they regret it. So
Hi,
point being
Sarah.
is, do not watch a cremation if given the chance, please.
Good morning, Alexander. Hey, Michael. Alexander, Michael. When I wake up in the morning, I can tell immediately I'm not a teenager, right? Get a memorial plan, a plot as early as possible. Yeah, but a lot of guys don't. I think they don't even do it in the U.S. The truth being, we've talked about funerals, arrangements, death, and everything over the last couple of years. Not a popular topic, not something that people think about, but it is different when you get here. And I thought I had an idea of what I'm going to do, but things keep actually changing. And then I realized it's definitely going to change for me. And then I'm at some point just like, fuck it, man. That's kind of where I've gotten to lately, because I'm like, that's George's problem afterwards. Yeah. So because I'm plus size, the freaking body bags stop at size George. They might get up to, I've seen the length of one and it's still not going to be long enough. So what you all going to do? Put one on each head? And knowing them, they'll take 2 body bags and they'll put one at the top, one at the bottom, and they're going to use tape around the center of me, some sort of duct tape, because they're going to have to. And they just, and let me tell you what, the Filipinos, like I said, are becoming bigger. I just seen one again the other day,
Well,
and
the
she's
world
pretty
is.
good size, right? And
The
so
world
I
is,
thought,
not just Philippines.
I mean, I'm really good size, but yeah, I don't know what they would do. The same with me. I'm to be cremated. A lot of the facilities are not made for somebody my height. So what are they going to do? A magic trick or something, like, the person in the box holding nap? I don't know. So all of these things, I'm trying to find out right now. Starting yesterday, I asked a few of the places about it and no response. So I guess I should have left out, are you going to cut me in half before you cremate me? That was probably went too far.
Well, they usually don't.
So
Yeah, and just real quick, again, somebody says Sumerian chicks were like
good morning.
existed during the BCE area, but no. I'm talking about the island of Samar. There is a place here. It's an island of Samar.
I hope you never date a girl from Samar, because then I'm going to know that you're talking of personal experience.
Now, what I'm getting at is the island of Samar.
George leaves Heidi and goes and dates a single mother from Samar, and the next thing you know, he is spread out all over the newspapers and Facebook.
Is okay. Samar used to be a red zone, and now it's not a red zone. What I'm getting at is, I'm just checking to see if it updated. Apparently it did. But then again, you may go on a website that may say Samar is a red zone. What I'm saying by red zone is there's this there's this thing called Red Zone Mindanao. It's a no travel zone. Now you may go on a website that may say Samar is a red zone, aka not a travel area.
Okay.
Oh no! I'm just telling them that Samar is a real island here in the Philippines. That there are expats there, but I believe last time I checked, up until now, it was a red zone. But right now I checked, it doesn't seem like it. And when they say red zone, it means tourists shouldn't be there. That's all I'm saying.
Ruby's in the house. If he was in a public hospital, it's obvious that the funds will be limited, so it's up to you to provide needle supply that would be needed. Yeah. So the problem is the man is immobile, and the one runner is his wife, and I guess she was staying there because he constantly needed care, feeding, drinking, everything. So, and it's the last thing you're going to think about. You're laying there in bed in so much pain and everything, limited finances. So yes. And the truth is not all of us have a perfect retirement plan, not even close. So I could see that we would know that, but if I'm down like he is, half sick, barely moving situation, I don't know. Right now I'm kind of like this. If George would know to go get fresh needles or deal with the doctors or be tough with them or have them go through and communicate. I don't feel Filipinos communicate worth a shit. I don't think there's a lot of like testing, questioning things, arrangements, plans going on. That's where I'm at on this. I think you guys are smart. I think you have the book smarts. Somebody said here that it seems that the ones that come to America that go to schooling, they're book smart and all that, but when they go to apply everything, they're not so good at applying their
Now,
techniques.
here's the reality again, and I'm not cherry picking or anything like that, but here's the reality. When you meet a Filipino in the U.S., he's already cherry picked. He or she's already cherry picked. What I'm saying is, most of the Filipinos you'll see in the U.S. are not your typical Filipino. So you cannot judge typical Filipino behavior because of them, because these guys are already cherry picked. Now, what I'm getting at is the best way to describe it, and I'm not downing my own kind. I'm not, because it's a plus or minus. The best way to describe Filipinos is you grab a person from the 1980s, you pick them up, plop them right now, and you look at them and how they behave and everything is in the 1980s. The end. What I'm getting at is they're not updated.
Teenagers from the
If
1980s
you grab
from a summer camp.
a 1980 per
Summer
Filipino, grab them right now, throw them in the hospital right now. That's how these Filipinos right now will behave. Because
See, to me, it's like they're in a summer camp, teenagers.
no,
and from
I'm
the
not
80s
joking. And again,
because
this is not
they
against.
know how to survive, put the fire together,
Yeah.
hand wash clothes, have a good time,
They'll
party,
function.
drink.
They'll
They
function.
function. They know how to get
They'll
by.
function. But
On the other hand, unless you're the exceptional side,
correct.
there's, I've talked to people. I live with George.
Well, like
I
like I
read
tell
these
Heidi,
expat forum
know.
groups. I read the Reddits. I read books. It's just an overall Asian Filipino situation
Right.
going on. So would I trust George right now? Honestly, I cannot say that. If I was laying there in his same situation, I don't know if George would go and get those needles and be proactive, because
well,
proactiveness is not
it
your
dep-
suit.
Okay, that's
All right.
insulting, but whatever.
All right,
That's
well.
in your opinion. In our relationship, that's very isolated. However, point being is Heidi's downing me right now, this very second.
Downing you?
Yeah, that's a down. That's not a thumbs up. But anyway, point being is if you're at that point is if Heidi fact that she made that statement tells you something. What I'm saying,
would. If you want to go there, I'll go there.
Stop.
I can
stop.
go there. So
Stop. I don't know where you're getting at because you're the one. I'm not saying anything against you. Heidi, stop. Again, what I'm saying is if the fact that I'm not good enough as far as Heidi's standards are, according to you,
I didn't say that. You're saying that.
what I'm saying is
Last time. Next time I'll say what I mean.
oh
So-
my God. And this is why point I'm trying to make is I'm highly educated and I'm proactive. Thank you very much. Whatever I don't care what you say. I'm very point being is if again me educated everything. I'm not your typical Filipino. I'm not patting myself in the back. Heidi will not argue with this even at this stage right now.
Correct. That would have nothing to do with it.
No, it
But
does.
when have you planned for anything?
It does.
Did you plan for the plane
because
tickets
it
or other
does
things?
because point being, if you get a typical Filipino from the road right now and compare it to me,
Yeah, I'd be dead tomorrow. I get that part of it.
yeah, thank
But as
you.
far as you planning, you
Heidi,
don't plan
this
for
is not
things.
about me. You made it.
No,
you made it
about yourself a minute ago
no,
when you said that
Heidi,
I insulted you.
you made it about me
it's just
because
not
all of
what
a sudden
you
it
do.
became a personal attack.
No, it wasn't. No, you see it as an attack. I'm sorry that you've seen it as an
Oh,
attack.
right. How often do you guys see me say anything bad about Heidi? Please.
Why is that saying anything bad? I'm not saying you don't
Oh,
love
because
me.
it is. But okay,
When
whatever.
is it? No,
You know what?
you get offended. If
Of
you get
course I'm
offended
going to get
immediately.
offended. Because again, I'm not
Because
your
you don't plan. Some people don't.
Oh my God. Just
Yeah. Okay. Oh, go ahead. Oh, just go on.
whatever, Heidi. Whatever.
So
Again, you're the one who insulted me. I'm not even
That's
upset.
not-
But you're the one who's upset right now. For
No, actually,
some
I'm not.
strange
You
reason.
are.
And it's not even
You're
about you.
deflecting on
It's
me.
not even about you. It's not even
In
about
the
me.
end, it'll
I'm
be
saying,
me.
again,
That's the bad
don't
part.
think
Oh,
that
Heidi
you guys see
insulted
me right
George.
now that I'm not your typical Filipino. It's not pat on the back.
Didn't say
Point
that.
being,
I said you
I'm
wouldn't
not
plan.
talking to you. I'm talking to them. It's not about us. This channel is never about us.
Oh,
I
actually, au contraire. That's exactly what it's about.
No. Even most people will argue
Then,
with you.
all right, so then you're the exceptional Filipino, and that I
My
offended you.
point
Then tell me when you made
is,
plans for anything. When do you join and communicate with me? When does the communication come in, and where does that insult you that your communication is not well,
hey, just
and
stop.
that you don't make
Just
plans?
stop. Most of the time, I can't make plans because of you. Duh.
Oh, because of me? For what reason?
A lot. What are you talking about? I can't mention it on air.
Oh,
It's not necessarily bad, but it's personal shit. It's none of their business. It's not anything about you, bad about you. Point being, our personal
are
shit
you
is our
talking
personal
about because
shit.
I don't get out because of my health issues? That
Oh
has
my God.
nothing to do with
I never
with
mentioned
planning.
that, and that's not what I'm thinking because this is about death. God, it's not about you, Heidi. Oh my God, it's not about you. It's not about me.
Okay, but you're the one that got upset about it, so okay.
Yeah, because nobody's insulting you. Somehow you think that's not an insult. The fact that you don't think that's an insult.
That you don't make plans and that's not who you are.
You know what? Leave me alone. Do your life, whatever. God, I'm not even attacking you. Somehow I'm being attacked here.
You're seeing it as an attack because you're hypersensitive and everything.
I'm
that
not
I say about
hypersensitive.
Filipinos
I said
gets
it.
to
It's
you.
not
It
about
is the truth.
George. It's not about Heidi. Somehow you're turning it into that, and I keep deflecting.
Are we talking about that guy with the young wife? Yeah, with the broken hip. He was in there for 14 days in the hospital. And in the last couple of days, there's been a fire at the hospital. He had to come up with his own blood. And he was waiting to gather the money. And the money started to come in. He was able to set up for the surgery. Then the doctor, his wife, was going into labor. So then that's what took the last week out of where he couldn't get the surgery done as he was gathering the money, as he was gathering the blood and running from a fire. And then he passes away, as I'm to understand, during the surgery. So he officially had passed away on the 20th, which was yesterday here in the Philippines. So
Yeah, Black Grandpa says a lot of bar girls come from Samar. Again, I'm not talking bad about Samar, but not necessarily bar girls, but somehow Samar, it exports its people. I mean, I'm saying it's their choice, but if there's a lot of them here in Angel City, there's a lot of them everywhere else because obviously they're leaving the island for a reason. I don't know. I don't live there. The point is, there's a lot of bar girls and a lot of guys, which are not bar guys, that are here. For example, if you talk to because again, I talk to everybody. If I talk to security guards and they don't speak the local language, which is, Kapampangan, probability they're from somewhere. I'm just saying. It's a very high probability. And if it's a bar girl, it's a very high probability she's from somewhere. Got nothing against Samar, but apparently everybody's from somewhere just leaves somewhere.
Flamingo Hoss or something. Where was he? He was in the Dumaguete area out in Negros in the province. And yes, there appeared to be at least a 40-year age gap. His wife was extremely young. He was 69 and she was under 25. So that's right, 40, yeah, 40 years. And he had married one or two other Filipinos over the years. One of them stayed back in Australia. We've been talking, me and this gentleman have been talking and trying to get him help and everything. It's the first expat that we've really went forward and tried to actually help and talk to and everything. Ruby said expats so broke in the Philippines, relying on public hospitals meant to serve poor Filipinos who can't afford private hospital. Complaining is really too much, in my opinion. Nope, I get that, Ruby. But it could happen to anybody. And anybody who has their fortune wiped out while they're over here, which happens a lot to expats that did plan, this could happen to anybody. So I would just hope that you have a ton of money to get through all this and insurance and plans. Because if you have something, your husband has something, there's an emergency that you'd have to pay back for in Australia, house gets wiped out by a typhoon, it's always a possibility. So unless you've got millions and millions of dollars to plan for multiple things that go wrong here in the Philippines, it's costly and death is a problem here. And for a lot of the expats coming here, they have little to no planning and it could happen for sure. So, but yeah, I mean, I somewhat was thinking the same, that, he's in there, he's in pain, he doesn't have money, and then he's upset. But honestly, I'm going to bitch where I'm going to bitch, whether I've got the money or not. It's not going to stop my feelings for what's going on. And they're also doing this to the Filipinos day in and day out, but they just put up with it. They're passive. They put up with it. It's been going on in public hospitals. It's meant to serve the people. They're not improving them. There's so much going on in the system that's broken. But understand that, there's no pushback from the people, kind of like stuff going on in the U.S. And the same with us expats. We're coming here broke and we're doing it to ourselves. So it's there's always, and there's a lot of expats that end up in these hospitals for sure. So yes, you can end up with acquired pneumonia in the hospital. Yeah, no ACs, the fans, the humidity. Other people were sick in there. And I think he said there was somebody that they brought in specifically. They're not going to put them in an isolation room. They put them all in the same room, even if they got TB. That's the scary part. And they don't do testing to figure out why they're there. They do what I call piecemeal work on them. They just have them there, and that's kind of scary too.
Well, and again, private rooms, they cost like private prices. They cost, again, in general, they cost about, the price of a hospital room costs about the same price as a hotel room in the same area. Just so you guys know, that's the cost. So that's up to you if you want to get a private room or not. But of course, it's always best. It's always cheap. It's always, I wouldn't say cheaper, but yeah. Now I've been to Samar, guys, just so you guys know. But however, when I was there, I was young and it's underdeveloped. However, if you're not used to living in the boonies, don't live in Samar. And the only reason why I say this is because even if, for instance, like here in Angeles City itself, Angeles has provincial areas, believe it or not. So what I'm saying is, I know, right? It's an irony. It's a city, but it has provincial areas. Well, then, if you don't understand that, then obviously you haven't been around in your own city, probably, because there's always, what's that? There's the urban areas, which is where we're at, or the rural areas, which is the provincial areas. And I'm talking about, there are rural areas in Angel City, and what I'm getting at is, there's more rural in summer, and even if you're in, for example, Angel City, here's the thing. Now, Heidi, okay, we experience brownouts here. Not as much as the rural areas in Angel City. But here's the catch. If you're in the heart of Angel City, you experience less brownouts, get it? So it's kind of like, what I'm saying is, that's a very basic necessity, electricity. If electricity itself goes on a sliding scale depending where you live, what more of an isolated island? And that's what I was getting at. So what I'm saying is, if you can't live in the boonies in the West, don't live in Samar.
Bookham, Dan Openay in the house. Good morning. They said disagree. Not all expats are not prepared. No excuses. Be prepared. Expats do not rely on expats. We prepared, not ignorant. Be responsible. Sound like you're in a group with a bunch of other people in here. And not all of them are. Not all of them are prepared. A lot of people got their 401ks. We've had this full discussion.
Well, even if you are prepared.
I didn't say everybody. I'd probably say 2 out of 10 are. Because all the rest of them, just because you see them spending at the bar or they bought a house and all that or did something, it doesn't mean they have the savings.
Well, even if you are prepared, again.
Give you a great example. Old dog. He's probably one major medical bill from something slipping out from under him, even if he's got a couple thousand coming in a month plus YouTube. What I'm saying is that there is a level of what you need to be here, and it's never going to stop people from coming here. 2, maybe 3 out of 10 would be a high guesstimate of people that prepare right. A lot of them come here because their stuff fell through in the US on retirement. The cost of living is causing people now, officially in the last year or two, it's the cost of living no matter how it is. They're taking little to no money and they're leaving and coming here. Then you got the other portion where they're just coming here for the chick. They already invested in the house. They've got a couple thousand in the bank and they come on over. It's a lot of money. Their Filipina will say, hey, that's more than enough. Yeah, because that's a ton of money to them. Oh my God, we can live on that forever. And they are going to buy that. I would say 3 out of that 10 are actually like that. They trust that their Filipina means well on that. They come over and then they fall. You got the others that end up sleeping their lives away, drinking their lives away, out with the chicks, come here to have a good time, and they don't care what the fallout is. Little blue pill, tons of alcohol, and a bunch of street food, and eating out, hitting these bars, and that's it. So yeah, you get these smancy expats that come here, and when we say you can't do a business, then you'll see that they do a business, and don't bother buying a house or building a house. They build a house. All of it is a possibility, and we're real proud and happy that your retirement turned out like that. But the reality is, for most, they ain't gonna end up like you and Ruby. There are people, and that's not pointing you guys out. It's just being factual. A lot of people that are coming here are not.
Well, here's an example.
They're not prepped.
Even if you are prepped, that's my point. And again, I'm not picking at Dano or anybody else. What I'm saying is, for example,
Hey, Magnum.
is even if you are prepped, here's an example. Let's say you got hospitalized for whatever reason, and even AU. I mean, I'm talking about AU. AU has its own pharmacy, whatever. Let's say you broke up with your wife, your girlfriend, whatever, or or if you're a woman and you broke up. Well, point is, if you broke up with your partner and you're there alone in the hospital, I don't care how prepared you are. If you don't have a runner, you're screwed. Because even AU, guess what? Their pharmacy is limited, and if the medicine you need is not in that pharmacy, they're not gonna go get it for you. You need somebody, a runner, to get it for you. So you can have all the money in the world, unless you have somebody there for you,
and
you're screwed.
And the nearby hospital may not be the one you're wanting. So for all of you out there, like
That's
what's his
another
name
thing.
went to ACE, that's only a so-so hospital. So it's just like, would they end up in a small hospital for anyways? And Ruby, if some expats end up homeless in the Philippines, that just means they would have been homeless back sooner than the Philippines. Not true.
So
Sorry, when you come here over to Asia and you leave your country, you do usually need some sort of plan, and you need somebody, and you need to bring some form of money. If I was back in the US, I've got tons of family and tons of friends that I could go and live with if I was there. If something falls out, I had more than one backup plan. Then I spent a ton of money getting ready to leave. Then I spent a lot of money in Mexico. I burned through my money trying to get to Asia for retirement. And now I'm self-pay on medicine. So for expats, they usually have where they sold their house, but then they spend the money on the woman, or they spend it drinking or traveling Asia. Some of these guys come here and buy a car, motorcycle, and things they didn't plan on just by selling their house, paying off debt. So they pay off a bunch of things. They usually have part of the mortgage left over. So the whole thing is, Ruby, is no, if they were back, it doesn't mean that they were close to that. Now, there are some guys that can't afford to live there, okay, and there could be some that are like that. But I would say for the most part, they had something going on. I think a lot of them fall apart once they get over here. A woman, they lose track from their banking. The last couple guys on Carrie's channel just lost track of their banking. They haven't been able to get to it for 6 or 7 months. So it doesn't, the guys that end up homeless here are usually because their woman, something happens, or they get caught up in a scam. It's just where it is.
Yeah. Now, also another thing, I've said this in.
So I would disagree with that.
Yeah, I've said this in previous lives. It doesn't matter your personality or whatever, and it doesn't matter the personality of your neighbors. Go out, talk to your neighbors. say hi to them at least once a week. And I say this because I mean it. And when I do. I talk to my neighbors for whatever. Hey, how's your plant doing? It looks good. You know, I'm not making this up. I do. Now, the reason I do this is not because just to make human relations. Is also, it doesn't matter how much money you have. If you were walking down your driveway and you slipped and broke your hip,
It was my neighbor that came for me.
right? If there's no neighbor, you're fucked. It doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank. Your bank's not gonna come over and help you. Your Wells Fargo guy isn't gonna fly over here. Your, Allstate, doesn't matter what insurance you have. Nobody's gonna magically show up and help you.
Yeah.
It's your neighbor.
Yeah, nobody plans for death because everyone thinks they have more time. Here's the thing, they don't plan at all. They plan for buying a house for their girlfriend. They plan for how they're going to get around Walking Street and Angel City and go to the malls and hang out with the dudes in Dumagetti, how I'm going to meet up with Old Dog, how I'm going to meet up with Sunshine Shoulders. They got all these vlogging plans because every other guy is a vlogger now. No problems. But you all got plans for that. You can afford your DJI, all these other things, but they never, DJI drones, DJI, all their expensive equipment, several of them. And then they don't have a fucking plan for medical. And honestly, that's a lot of us. Mine was just to deal with it one thing at a time and to fly back. Now, I want to let you know, I got rid of my other part of Medicare. Michael Onstad said that most of them cancel. They take on a plan here, okay, which is through, I just had the name of the company. So Pacific Cross is one of the better insurances. Can you please get that for me? He honks when he arrives. Pacific Cross, somewhere possibly between $200 to $800 a month, depending on what's going on, what type of plan. And you could take on that insurance, but he said most guys cancel the B, which I do. I'll deal with that. I still have hospital. If I show back up in the U.S., I'll take the penalty at $185, $187, give or take. I, for 5 years, have been paying that, and I no longer want to pay that anymore. So I didn't use it at all. And right now, my plan is not to go back. I won't have any preventative surgeries. I take my medicine. I eat healthy probably about half the time now. And it's just where it's going to be. I'm self-pay, go to a regular doctor every few months, and that's it. So that's my only plan. But a lot of them make no plans. This is why it's not talked about. And I wouldn't even say it's a rich thing. I would say a well-planned person with money, this and that. I think some of them have the money or possibly the insurance plan. And like you said, if somebody slips and falls outside, you may not even have the neighbor to pick you up off the ground. It's an all the way around bad situation, a total failure when it comes to medical. And we haven't even touched on the elderly care, like having an assistant. Are you guys going to be like, what's his name, the Campbell that went back to the U.S. that sat here? His wife was a total caregiver. She knew that when she married him and having a stroke. And David stayed here all these years with all those medical issues. And so she was a total caregiver. That wears on the person. So a lot to think about, but it's not going to stop people. Just like all the other problems, it doesn't stop them as far as, it's kind of like me when I get the one-track mind thing. It's like, oh, we're going to the Philippines, and then it's just where it is. Not everybody can pull that,
Yeah, and in all fairness, again,
Mary, no.
like everybody, the thing is, reality is, everybody thinks like they're 25 years old. Because again, it's just the way we are as human beings. And what I'm saying is, your body just can't keep up with your brain. It really can't.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is, your brain will always tell you, oh yeah, you can do this, and yeah, you can to a certain extent, and that's fine. However, again, you will need the help of others because of your declining age or increasing age, depending on how you look at it.
Just like I said earlier, when he was still alive, seniors after hip surgeries usually died within a year. Yeah, with Western medicine. Yeah, that would have been. And I think he was just trying to get the pain to stop. When I dislocated my arm, I sat here for a few hours. It was horrible. So I could not imagine sitting there for 14 days. And that's enough to wear on him as far as everything. His immune system, everything. He probably had an infection in his leg. So, yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, no, I mean it makes sense. And again, usually when you break a hip,
Yeah.
usually you don't last much longer than that.
What you
And
talking
again,
about, Willis? You think they're gonna give out that $2,000 check? No. I think they'll be not for me. They talking impeachment now, so it's
well,
all over the news.
again,
So a surprise,
the
surprise.
2K check, first off, it should never be released. Again, it has nothing to do whether Democrats or Republican. Point being, is America cannot afford it. It's
There's at
simple.
least
It's
10
very
or 15
simple
things that are
economics.
100% not a Democrat, not liberal, not white wing, red wing, blue wing, that were impeachable offenses again that he has done. So, and it's not our opinion, my opinion, it's facts. These are things he's doing without full Congress, and there's everything going on. So it wouldn't surprise me, and I'm sure he knew it was coming. But in the meantime, the family's made a ton of money. He's done some good, and the rest of it has gone. It's like circling the drain. So now you're just going to see all kinds of stuff the next 6 months. So, always interesting though. But them checks ain't coming.
They should. Yeah. No, I don't think so.
I
don't-
wore braces on
I
my
don't-
legs as a kid. Sorry. I bought one with me coming here. I purchased a new one. I had the shoe inserts, and I wore the what do they call it? Something brown was the name of the shoes. Had a little puppy on the box or something, and they were special shoes. And then I had the inserts, and I had where my feet. I even had little braces on my legs, so my feet turn in really bad. Is it cleft or not cleft? They got a name for it, but
Clubfoot.
yeah, clubfoot. I got cleft. I got cleft as in the foot, club foot. So I couldn't get it out. So yeah, and so it just. And then a lot of my jobs were standing. And then when I'm standing, I turn my feet in because it's more comfortable. They tried to get me to, during therapies, to walk out, even in my adult years, and just went right down. And so, and then with me being plus size, no, they said you have to get within about 30, 40 pounds. I said, goodbye, knees. So it's just like, but public government hospitals implement zero bill policy for indigents, but I don't know about expats. They did for him. They said he had to pay for the parts, so maybe in the recovery, but they weren't going to let him live in the hospital for the next couple months. I'm sure he'd have had to come back, and they probably would have told him to go somewhere with the therapy. So
Well, indigence is a different story. I mean, those are, for those of you who are unaware, when Filipinos say indigents, they're talking about the negritos. The negritos are the negritos, the belugas. They're basically the Philippine equivalent of American Indians. That's what that means.
and that's very true. Sad. This is why to put health on expats to save me is embarrassing, and I'm sure he was. He said it was. Will or not let this happen. I will not put my wife in the position. Don't listen to expats. Be prepared. Oh, that's them trying to get out. I don't know if you guys can hear that. When the neighbor's trying to get out the gate, it doesn't come open. They've got to pretty much kick it open. But no, that is true. Planning and having the money and prepping in advance would actually save a lot of that for sure. Like I said, when my brother died, he was kind of tall and big, so the funeral, I had to make a custom coffin. Yeah, it's going to be the cremation thing and the body bags that'll be a problem. So unless George goes away on a permanent vacation and I just turn to soup in the bed and then they can just ladle it in, the humidity will probably do that. Or maybe the cats can just eat me for one last meal. If all of a sudden I've got 30 cats around, it's the end of time. I seen this guy that said that he had this yellow cat that started picking on his black cat. And he said that the cats can smell when death is coming. And they said that the cat turned on the other cat and was biting him all the time. And then he turned out, he's like, I had a bunch of tests. There's nothing wrong with that black cat. That orange cat was just being an asshole. But Yeah, we'll just get more cats, and then there could be a big Thanksgiving feast then. But yes, most countries being plus size here, just not sure how it actually works out. No, he actually swole up. He was a plus size guy, but he wasn't like that when he entered the hospital. He was definitely having organ failure and pneumonia, and he was just holding on by a thread. But I think he just wanted to be out of the pain, and he didn't care. He's kind of like me. He had a one-track mind at that point to get through it, and that's where I would have been. I'd have just been pushing, even if it meant death. So that's where he was. So
Well, not to mention again, since Heidi mentioned it, the thing about part of survival, this is not a myth. The will to survive is a real thing. He already gave up way before the operation. He didn't want to move on anymore. He's done. He was ready to pass on, and that is a very contributing factor. You can talk to all the doctors in the world for all I care. Point being is they'll tell you there are some fighters out there, and there are the ones that give up. The ones that give up, they're gone. The ones that fight, they probably are still here.
Ruby, I said his doctor in the last live stream. I said it was his doctor's wife went into labor. So I guess maybe that might have been a time I skipped over saying the doctor, but I was saying the doctor's wife had his wife went into labor and they put off the surgery, not him. So yeah. So as far as I know, there were no kids. His wife hasn't had any kids. Yeah, I doubt she made bank. So the GoFundMe was at 1,800. The surgery was 4,000 or 5,000, and the bills had already added up. So no, she's definitely going to have to pay something, or they definitely paid in advance. So my guess is it was already transferred, and his sister helped him with it. So no, there's not going to be anything left over on that for sure. So yeah. If he has married a few times, sponsored them to Australia, divorced a few times, yeah, he could be banned by Australian government, sponsor another Filipino partner. Yeah, so it's possible. He's been here. I think he said only one of them was there, so he only took one of them back, never did it again. So that's the one child or adult child that's talking on his page now is the one that made it back. So the other one is here and then her. So he's got two of them that are here, but he officially divorced them back there, but didn't take them back. So let's see. Nope. And Bookham said no excuses about not being prepared. Get real. If I didn't prepare it, only to blame yourself. Yeah, that is true. And that's the one thing you would have to accept. So
Well, it's not an excuse. Again, there's things that are out of your control. For example, I know Bukandano has a partner right now. There's no guarantee that even your partner is going to be there tomorrow. And I don't mean that in a dark way. What I'm saying is a lot of things can happen.
breakups.
They can break up. She can pass away. She can go move, like say, for example, all of a sudden, family issue, move away, and won't be in an area where they can't keep in touch with you. Again, it's not about what
So
I'm
many
saying
things
is
change over the years. We've been
no.
here 5
Heidi
years.
wanted to actually talk about this because she wanted to talk about Murphy's Law, and everybody is old enough here to know what Murphy's Law is here. If if things will go bad, it will go bad.
Whatever, yeah.
Whatever can go wrong will go wrong. And again,
Even with plans.
even with plans, correct. And that's why I even say that one of the best things that my boss taught me is George, always make plans. Most of the time they don't work, but better to have a plan than none. What he's saying is at least you have a map to know what to do just in case. And even point being is you can be prepared for everything and things can still get derailed no matter what. And that's reality. It really is.
George, is the runner the same as Watcher or Bante? That's
Yes, yes, bantay. Well, bantay means okay. Bantay literally means guard, but or but what I'm saying, yeah, watcher, guard. But yes, and you're there to make sure that they're okay, whatever. Like for instance, when my uncle was hospitalized a few times, his my aunt or his sister is the one that
Good
stayed in the
morning.
hospital, and she didn't go home. I mean, there was a shower and everything, and her kids came in and brought her fresh clothes, brought her like food and everything. So, she took a shower at the hospital, whatever. The point being is she never left his side. And what I'm saying is that's very crucial. It's really hard, let's say for Kelly, um, if he's all alone in pain. That's a different level of hurt. There's a different. I get it if he's in pain and he has the love of his life right there next to him, and it's also a next level of pain that you're in pain and there's nobody there.
Uh,
I mean, sure, there's people around him, but they don't give a shit about him.
Now, for me, I think I'd rather be alone because I tend to be the opposite on pain. I don't want you to see me in pain. I don't like
Well,
when
no,
you see
no, no,
me
no, no.
sick.
This
I
is a
don't.
fair. No, that's
And
fair.
we're used to in the Western hospitals at least 2 people in a room, but I've always had private rooms.
And that's
So imagine having 8 people in the room with you. And by the way, all of them were playing radios. There was all this different sound. I couldn't imagine.
and probably music you won't know because it's Filipino
Probably
music.
had a headache, probably dehydrated, and I seen she was feeding him a lot. And I love sugar, don't get me wrong, but I seen her, in other words, it just seemed like I would hope that was her energy drink in the room. Probably was, maybe not. But I don't think he was getting the proper diet or fluids. They didn't run an IV on him till the last minute. So could you imagine having a headache and being that sick the whole time with all that noise and everything and all the people?
Yeah, and like I said, at least it seemed like she was always there. Like you said, I wasn't there. I don't know. But from the looks of it, a lot of the posts were made by her, and it looks like she's always there.
And we have Victoria in the house. She is in Australia herself, like Ruby is from there. So, didn't Campbell work on his wife's U.S. visa? She went there, and I think it's open for her to use for a while now. She can use it, but permanently, he said it in his last video that he was planned that she could come on over, but he didn't know who she was in the last video, and he's in a facility, so I don't know if that's. She does have one though.
Well, yeah, no, and again, like,
But I don't think I think it's only for travel. I don't think it's a permanent residence.
no,
yet.
no,
It's
no,
just
no.
a
And like I said,
permit to go in
Rose
and
was
out.
asking, basically in a roundabout way, asking how she could get there, but apparently Campbell was not in the right mind to actually pay and get her there.
And Bookham, the truth hurts. Be prepared. Don't fall into the mindset that it doesn't matter if you have money. You either have A or B. Okay. Well, here's the thing. Nobody said it doesn't matter. It's a fact of life. That's what happens.
No, no, no,
So
no, no. And
it's
that's why I
not a
said,
matter of
it's not a
hurt
question of money.
or
That's the thing.
not a matter of hurt, not a matter of mindset. It's the hard, cold truth. 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10 have a plan. So,
And actually, most of the time, it's not most of the reasons why expats.
and if they had
pass
such a
away,
good plan, most of them just
it's-
stay back in the U.S. and they
It's
transfer their
actually not
Filipinos
about
back.
money. That's the thing. This
Not
is
all of it. Yeah.
no. I mean, we've been doing this
Hey,
channel for a
Linda,
while,
good morning.
and this is the first.
Good morning, Linda.
Well, even then, like when he passed away, guess what? He did have the money for the surgery. That's the point.
Don't burn bridges with certain friends and family. Someone may be able to get the ball rolling and
No,
help
no.
the
See,
funding.
that's
Yeah,
the thing.
his sister
That's the
did.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. And so, but like I said, even if he did, all these other things came up. So it's just not that. That's why I go into all of these what if possibilities. And even if you do, what percentage actually has enough of unlimited sources? That's where I'm trying to come from. It wouldn't take a whole lot to have, multi-medical things going on in your house. Like a lot of these guys have kids. They got their kids in school. Some have in-laws living with them from your Filipino. What if something happened? Then you're paying for their funeral, and then you start burning through the money. And it happens a lot. So lose your banking card. Then you don't even have access to get to that either. So.
Well, it goes deep. I mean, the expat thing goes deep.
Aw, hey, Ruby. Ruby says countdown with only 2 days working and the rest on leaving to retirement by the end of December.
That's awesome. Great to hear that.
Wow. It's been a journey for you. I know that. So Ruby, very, very sweet. Very nice. Ruby. Yay, Ruby. Yeah. Matter of fact, there's a lot of places, a lot of the bars, clubs, restaurants are actually doing the meal. We're supposed to do barbecue ribs. Now I'm actually thinking about going to the Chinese restaurant we haven't been to in a while. Yeah. And actually doing something. They do like orange chicken because for them it won't be Thanksgiving. It'll just be, just showing up like go maybe at noon or something. And so there's usually plenty of room there and everything. They're not usually that booked. So I'm actually thinking luk fu instead of sitting here waiting for the ribs to cook for 12 hours in the crock pot is like better to do just luk fu.
Well, it's two different things.
Oh yeah, of course it is. So as for Kelly's daughter, I believe she had contacted the Australian VA embassy and shared his GoFundMe on any media platforms or even military pages. He may have had a possible somewhat chance.
No,
Yeah.
he did.
Yeah.
But
well, according to him, his wording is that most of the people he didn't have contact with. I know he said that his sister, but to me, he said he didn't have people. So I had not heard of the daughter or nothing showed up on his page, any comments, no, hey dad, whatever, until he passed away. Then, which I get people aren't on social media, so I get it. I can actually truly say that, but there was, up to that point, Oh, I forgot. In severe medical situations, his daughter or wife, through the stress, may not have thought to reach out to certain platforms, government office. Yeah, would have been, yeah. Yeah, I know she's going to go through it, that's for sure. Like I said, George, I think indigent means the poorest of the poor. Indigenous or the Aidas and other Aborigines.
yeah.
Yeah, you can have the best laid plans and still end up in trouble. Yeah,
Yeah. No.
that is for sure. Yeah. Congratulations for Ruby. Yeah, I'm thinking about doing the same, going to a Chinese restaurant for Thanksgiving. Yeah, I just think about by the time we buy the ribs, we end up getting several dishes, sides, and what we pay the last time we were there? Less than $30, if that.
Well, it was no more than 15.
Yeah, no more than 1,500 pesos, which is under. And then we had a ton of food left over. We had the chicken and everything. If we go to buy the ribs here and I get all the ingredients for the sauce and start going through that, that's just for that. Yeah, we possibly will be out that. And then, and then there'll be all the cleanup, and which is always part of the fun. I get it.
That's another thing. Before you order on anywhere in the Philippines, since we brought this up, look around, pay attention. What I'm getting at is you may not know what you're ordering. And what I'm saying is I'm talking about the amount. For example, when I went to that bar, I wanted nachos. But guess what? If I buy nachos, it's a whole big freaking platter.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so,
he'll have a video for that for sure.
So what I'm getting at is don't just randomly order because it looks good. You have to pay attention around you and see if they're big portions or small portions.
Yeah, it's family. Like when we go to Luk Fu, they're family portions. I'm like, oh, okay, well that's a couple hundred pesos. That's a lot of money. you know, because you're thinking it's just going to be one small amount on a
Correct.
plate, and then it comes out and it's a gigantic.
For the most part, they're big portions. For the
Yeah,
most part.
that's for sure. My plan: stay home in the Philippines in your paid condo and food. Feed my dog Balboa, Rocky Balboa, huh? Yeah, I'm gonna let the cats nibble on George for a little bit. My newborn is with your girlfriend. Despite all the negative and drama from the expats, this is the best move we made to retire here. 2 months already, baby Grace. Oh, baby Grace is 2 months old.
Aww.
It doesn't take long, yeah. Still thinking where to celebrate your birthday next month. Yeah, I'll send that to you, Victoria. Yeah, most definitely. Both him and his wife are public and everything. So, got heaps of travel plans all laid out for the next 3 years. Be on the road traveling. A lot of places to go, most definitely. So, guys, we're going to wrap this up. George we have a video coming out. George went to that event at the bar. What do they call the place?
Capito.
Capito. I was going to call it Capital, but it's Capito. And so we'll have a video coming out probably next week, but there'll be one coming out tomorrow where George went to the gas station and everybody at the gas station was disabled. So it was all based on employing, special needs people.
Yeah, now just real quick about the Capito's bar thing. The reason why I was there is because my friend was doing a fundraiser for my friend, and he got blind because of diabetes. That's another thing. You know, it doesn't
People-
matter how much money you have, crap like that happens.
Or end up on dialysis.
Right.
A portion of people do, and then they're paying for that out of their pocket, which could really sink the boat.
So it was a fundraiser, and since he's a musician, the Musiqueros, Abe Musiqueros, which means Musicians United, they put up this fundraiser for him. They do this for everybody, and what I'm saying is, the guy who went blind, he actually does this for other people too. So it's just kind of like a twist of fate that they're doing it for him. And there were over 30 bands that were playing that night, and they played up until like 3 o'clock in the morning, like one band after another, one band after another. You know, some playing Megadeth, some playing Beatles, you name it. They sang it. Different bands from everywhere. It was interesting.
Yeah, they were performing and everything. Yeah, I was just looking to see if he had any updates on. I was keeping in contact with another friend that knew him, William, and no updates. Got his bike going and got him a new jacket and everything, but yeah, we were waiting to get any updates. So I will send that to you, Ruby, and get you that information. And thank you, everybody. A sensitive topic, and wanted to cover that instead of covering it tomorrow. We'll get that video out tomorrow. And thank you so much, Raymond. We appreciate you guys being here.
Now, Raymond, real quick again, for those, as far as if you can donate to my friend again, I'll look into that. Only reason because he's Filipino, and the rules are different for Filipinos. I don't think he has a GoFundMe because I don't think we're allowed as Filipinos. However, I'll look that up. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Now, our top commenters for the day are, it's Raymond. Thanks so much, Raymond. Raymond's number 1. Number 2 is Ruby, and Luca is number 3. Thank you so much, guys. We appreciate you so much. And again, hopefully you guys are well, and hopefully you will continue in good health. God bless you all.